occurs when multiple records in a table are associated with multiple records in another table. That is what many-to-many relationship is all about. This is the definition, and we have looked at the example in the employee and project, other things, right? And also we have used some data set, simple data set like sales one, state, and city data. Forget about these three things. And the city data, sales one, state, these three tables that we have used it here. Always look at the data. Okay, so we have used the bridge table, and then without using the bridge table also we can create the relationship using many to many, but it is always a good practice go with your bridge table. Why? Now we will take a look at that one. Look here, I just go ahead, take a look at the data first. Always just check your data. It is always a best practice before you start do your coding or anything creating visualization. First check the data. First be familiar with the state column. We have duplicates are there, and city also. City we don't have duplicate. Population, this is a numeric value, and state we can see CA is more than one. Hence we have multiple records are there. Okay, and we can look at the sales one table. When you look at the sales one table also we can see duplicate here. Here also some duplicate is there. This is my sales here. So in the city data we have population. Here also we have state and type is there, sales is there, but city is not there here. And we have another table called state. The state table we can see that CATXW, California, Texas, and Washington, right? So we don't have any duplicates here. So in the bridge table you are not supposed to have duplicate. Okay, so we will explore 2 to 3 different scenarios. It will not only help you to crack the interview, but also in the real time scenario how to implement this one, right? You will be familiar with that. So we will just take a look at this one now. So okay, this is fine. CATX here we don't have any duplicates. One more time I just go to the sales one. And if you look at the unique values, CATXW, only 3 values are there. And if you go to the city data, just look at the distinct values, only 3 values are there. Okay, good. So in the state table, which is nothing but my bridge table, to implement a many to many relationship, you need to have a bridge table like this. Okay, you need to have a bridge table, because you have multiple records in both the tables, right? So you cannot directly implement the tables that have multiple records that are associated with multiple records in another table. Okay, so it is it's a weak relationship. Basically it is called weak relationship. So hence you need a bridge table. Fine, I just go to this one. Look here, this is my bridge table. So here all the state I have only having the unique values in it. So here I created one to many relationship. Here I created one to many relationship. Fine. When I keep the cursor here, I can see that state and state column got linked, and here the state and state column linked. Good. So I just go here and I create a table. I create a table here, table visual. I just go here and city data. We are not going to work with other tables because we are going to see how to implement the many to many relationship. Okay, so this is my bridge table. These two tables having duplicate records, even the state, and let's assume that city also. Okay, here what I am going to do is I am going to drag and drop the state here, and then population. So it is doing the filtering correctly. The same table I just did this. And then when I tried, so my reporting requirement is along with the population, each state and city, what is the sales. Okay, here I just drag and drop this one, sales. It is not doing the filtering correctly. I picked up the state column from here. If you keep the cursor, we can see that, right? City data also we have state, and sales one table also we have, say, the state column is there, and population here I picked up. But when I did this, it is not doing the filtering correctly. So what data we have in sales table, we can go and check it here itself. Look here, sales 1. Here we can see 60, 80, 400, 150, 100 is there. So here what we are seeing is the total of all these values. It did the totaling, and then the same total value repeated across the rows, which means it is not doing the filtering correctly. Okay, what do you mean by filtering? What do you mean by, you might be confusing. Okay, you might get confused. I'll just take a quick digression to help you to understand that. Let me do one thing. I'm going to create a new measure. Any of this part, I will be covering it as part of DAX. DAX is one of the important topics in Power BI. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say total sales. I'm going to say sum is a function, sum of sales amount. This is my measure. I just press enter. You need to click on the new measure and then you need to type it like this. Okay, it got created. So now what I am going to do is, see, I'm looking at another table. Okay, for you people, for example, I just create another visual. In this case, I just clicked on the table visual. The moment when I clicked it, it got dragged here into this report canvas. Next, what I do is I'm going to use the fact sales table, not fact sales table. Okay, we have created a measure total sales, right? I just drag and drop this. The total sale is 4,56,149. This is the total sales. Now you see the magic. I just go here and I just drag and drop the category here. Look here, what happened? There is a magic. Earlier it was showing only this value, 4,56,149. The moment when I dragged and dropped the category, so what happened? It gives the sales breakdown by each category. How much sales we made in beverages category out of this total 400. So out of this 4,56,000, how much sales we made in dairy? We did not write any formula. We did not write any DAX function. Simply we created a DAX function wherein we computed the total sales. When the moment when I dragged and dropped it inside the table visual, it was showing only one value. But along with this measure, when you drag and drop any categorical variable, not only category, if you drag and drop any other category like location name, it does the splitting automatically. So what we are understanding here is, what you need to remember here is, this category is coming from a separate table, right? And then the total sales is coming from where? One second. The total sales is coming from fact sales, the sales amount. The sales amount is coming from, look here, the sales amount is coming from the fact sales, right? So the moment when I dragged and dropped the category, what happens is the category table filtered the sales table. This is very much important. Please concentrate here. So the category table filtered the sales table, the sales amount. Okay, so this one, since it has a relationship, since we have created the relationship between the tables, the category table was able to filter the fact sales by sales amount. Got it? So that is what is happening. These two values are coming from two different tables. You remember this, okay? These two values are coming to two different tables. But the thing is, the moment we dragged and dropped the category column along with the total sales, it did this split automatically. We did not write any program or we did not write any script. That is the salient feature of using Power BI. Even in Excel you cannot do it, right? Okay, so how this filtering is happening? It is because of the relationship between the tables. We already created the relationship between the category table and NC sales table, fact sales table, and product table and fact tables, dim location and fact sales. Okay, fine. Now let's go back to this one, state and population. The state population comes from where? This one comes from which table? The city data. State and population comes from city data, but the sales is coming from where? It is coming from this table. The sales is coming from sales 1, right? So this one is coming from this table. So in this case, what happens is the moment when I drag and drop the sales, no, it is not, the city data is not filtering this one. Why it is not filtering it correctly? See, like this, it should split up, right? Out of the 720, how much sales we made in the California, specific city, okay? California, in the other next city, how much we made, it should split it like this. It is not doing that. The overall total, it is repeating it across the rows. The reason is, these two tables were not linked directly. We did not create any relationship directly between these two tables because these two tables are having many to many. Look here, are there any relationship exists between these two tables? No, there are no relationship exists between these two tables. So the relationship exists between state table and this sales one, and state table and this table, right? There is no direct relationship. Please consider this very much important. There is no direct relationship exists between these two tables. There is no relationship, okay? Hence, it is not filtering the sales. The city data table is unable to filter the data from the sales one. Got it? Fine. So now what we will do is, we just go here. Let us focus on this table. First of all, the state column, right? We are not supposed to have taken from this, right? Because the state column from this table only filtering these two tables, but we have taken the state column from this table. So what I am going to do is, I am going to remove this one. I just scroll down this state column. I am going to select it now, and I just move this up here. Okay, now we can see different values here, right? So earlier we were seeing some other values. Okay, so earlier what value we were seeing, I just use Control C. Okay, what I will do is, I'll just take a copy of this one. This one comes from city state, right? 0.20, 0.70, it's all same, correct only. Okay, 0.20, 0.70. Okay, you can remember it, right? But here we can see 790, 790. What I am going to do is, I am going to remove this one, because only the bridge table can filter both the tables, right? Other two tables. So now I do this one. Now it is sort of doing the filtering. Instead of repeating 790 here repeatedly, it is doing the filtering, okay, because the state table, the state filters the sales as well as it filters the population, because only this state table has a relationship with this one, and also this state table has the relationship with this one, right? This table filters this one, and the state table filters city data. So now filtering is happening, but unfortunately here it is finding out the total sales, within this each state. So in WA the total sales 250, and it repeats the total sales for these two states. Okay, actually if you go and see the sales data here, WA, for WA here, if you see here, look here, WA 100 plus 150, 250. It is adding these two things and then it is repeating for these two records. It is not showing the split up for sales, whereas it is showing the split up for populations. In WA, what we will do is, okay, for better understanding, I'll just select city also. In Washington, we have something Spokane. Spokane, in the city, this is the population and this is the sales. Actually, this is not the actual sales. This is 150, this is 100. Here what happens is, it is doing the filtering, but it is still, requires some kind of improvement. It is not doing the proper job. So all we need is, we need an output something like this. We want something like this. So in WA, 100 for one city, and another city is 150. It should display something like this, right? Instead, it is adding these two values, 250, 250 repeats, and here, since the state is same, right, repeats more than one time, but the cities are different. Okay, here 80 plus 60 is 140 is repeating two times here, right? So 140, 140. We don't want the report to be displayed like this. We want something, the report to be like this. So how will you solve this issue? How will you solve this issue? How can you print it like this? My customer says, hey, at any cost I need the output should be like this. I don't care about what kind of relationship you get. I need to see something like this. So what kind of solution? How will you do this one? Can someone try this? I'll give you 5 minutes time, and you can see my data set, everything here. .csv, and if you type the city data, you will find it here. And then what is the other one? State.csv also you can find it here, or else you can create it already 3 records. Anyhow, I will upload that one also. I want this split up till the granular level. I don't want the sum total sum to be done. Okay, yes, got upload all these 3 files. How do we do this one? Okay, so this is what a little bit challenging. So what we will do is, one approach is, I just show you the thing. What I am going to do is, so we want the sales by state and city, right? So that is what we needed. But here what happens is, in our data set, look here, in our data set we have state and type and sales only is there. Ideally we should have a city here also. This is a many site, sales is a many site, and city data is also many site. City data also many site. Since these two tables have many dimensions, we introduced a link table here. So now we want the report to be like this. The output should be like this. State, and along with that city also you can display it. But the sales should be displayed like this. It should not get added like the 80 plus 60 is 140, and the 140 is displaying here and here. That is not the expected, that is not the expected one from the customer. They say, no, I need this like this. Okay, so but when it comes to population, it is doing the correct job, 0.90 everything, but when it comes to sales, it is not doing it. Even though we have used the bridge table, it is not doing good job. So what we do is, look here, I have used another thing here. So in this case, what I did, I included state along with, see, the existing data, I create a new column called city. I just simply copy pasted the city from the city data. Look here. Here whatever the columns values are there, right? The same thing I copy pasted it here. Okay, I duplicate all this because state and city, is a composite key in this case. Okay, with this only we can see in this state two different, more than one city can also be there. So which city this sales belongs to? If you have it in this table also, this column, it makes sense. Okay, and then rest of them, okay, fine. So what I did here is, in the state column, the link bridge table, also I have included state and city. State, ignore this one, I'll explain you, later. State and city. Instead of only having the state column, I included city also. Here you can see that duplicate values of state, and city we don't see any duplicate here. Fine, okay. So here what I did, I just created the same relationship, state, but in this case I just linked the city with city. Okay, see, sales one and city data also have both the state and city in this. Remember this. Okay, here I created a new column by the name of city. This values are coming from here only. Okay, from this one. And here you have the state city. Forget about the custom. Okay, so this is my bridge table. This is how I created it. So now what happens? One-to-many relationship. Here one-to-many relationship we created it. If you go to the report canvas, and if you select the table visual here, and what happens is, so you need to pick up the state from here, because this is the bridge table. This is the one have a direct relationship with this one and this one. These two tables do not have any relationship, hence you need to pick up from this. Please remember this. And city, state, city. Okay, fine. So each state, almost we have two cities are there except Texas. And then we need population. Just check mark the population. Either you can click on this, you can check mark this, or you can drag and drop this. Okay, the next one is sales. I just check mark this so that this sales column will automatically get moved there, but it is throwing an error here, right? It is throwing an error. And next what I am going to do is, it should not create any error here, one-to-many, right? So let me just, okay, so here there is a problem with this columns that we have selected. Okay, and fix this. When you click on this, it will show you what kind of problem. It will show create relationship, all the things, something wrong here. Here we have the state, city, everything is correctly done, right? So we are done with state and city is correctly, state. Let me just state, here it is coming from state, and city is coming from state, and city data, population. Okay, this is the sales, right? Sales is coming here. Let me just swap this one. And what I am going to do is, here I just go and say sum of sales, and here population also I am going to say sum of sales. See, here we have to use sum of sales only. Okay, you cannot say don't summarize. Okay, if you use don't summarize, by default it is using the sum function only, but it gives us the split up correctly. Look here, this is what the output we needed. 60/80 the sales. Earlier these two values got added, and then the sum of California state sales got repeated. 140, 140 were repeating it earlier. Now, with the help of bridge table and also by including the city column in this sales table, now we are able to split up this correctly. This is very much important in the real-time scenario. This is one of the real-time scenarios. Okay, and most of them they get stuck up here. Okay, the sum of sales, and don't summarize. They do it. If you don't summarize, it will not give anything. So here it is doing the splitting correctly. We are able to get the desired output 0.904, right? So it's correctly coming up here. Got it? So this is how we can implement the many-to-many relationship. So you need a bridge table. We have another approach. We have seen it. We can directly create the relationship, and it will show you many-to-many relationship, even though it shows many-to-many relationship, right? So for example, I'm going to remove this one. The second, we have another approach. With that approach, we don't need a bridge table, but it will not do the splitting correctly. It will not give the breakdown, sales breakdown correctly, because these sales and city are not, the correct one. So what I do is, I just link the city and city here. Okay, in both the table we have 1 to 1, right? Okay, it gives me 1 to 1 in this case, because city or we did not have more than one city in this case. Okay, so in this case let us see what happens. So cross filter direction both. Okay, city and city we linked it, and we will see what happens here. Cross filter direction both here. Okay, I'll show you one more time, don't worry. Look here, it is not doing the filtering correctly. So it repeats the total sales for each and every line item. The same is applicable for sum of population also. It is not doing the good job here. And also it is not advisable enabling the cross filter direction both. Remember, it is not advisable enabling both. Okay, it should be single. In the interview they will ask you what are the properties of cross filter direction. You need to say single, both, but both is not recommended. You are not supposed to enable both, because if you enable both, in both direction the filtering will happen. It is not the desired one. It can cause performance related issues, especially when you have more number of tables in your data model. Full stop. But in some cases it is doing, we don't need the bridge table, but rarely, right, we directly connect like this, something like this. Okay, but both of them have many-to-many relationship. Okay, now I just go back to the previous discussion, the bridge table. We have another alternative in the bridge table. You can expect this one also as part of your interview question. Look here, in this case, what are the common columns are common between all the tables? See this table, right, amongst these tables, city and state, city and state. We can link city with city, state with state. But if you create more than one relationship, more than one link, the first link will become active relationship, other one will become inactive. That is another headache. Instead, you can directly drag and drop city. The state table filters the city table. Automatically, the city belongs to the state also will get filtered. Okay. So, and city is more than sufficient. City and city is more than sufficient. Linking these two things. We have another option. You can combine these two columns and you create a new column. Okay. For example, state city, something like that. Okay, state city, something like that. But here I have created custom, something like that. What I will do is I just go to the here manage relationship. I just click on this one. Not this one. Okay, what I will do is I just simply drag and drop custom with state city. Okay, I'll just show you here the state. Look here, it got created. The relationship got created. Custom and state city. And custom I'm going to link it now. Now the question is, what is this custom? What is this state city? I just combine city and state together so that it will become a composite key. In the interview, they'll ask you this question: if you have a composite key, how will you link this one? We can combine, we can concatenate those columns. How to concatenate those columns? City and state I concatenated in the state city. So for that, you just click on the custom column. One second. It is not showing here. Okay, here you need to go to the transform data Power Query editor. That is where I guess I created it. No, not there. Anyhow, we will see it here. So if I click on here, look here, state ampersand, in between I left one space. State and city you concatenated. How do I concatenate? Using ampersand. In between you can give double quote space, so that your state space city name, state name space city name, state name space city name. Got it? That is how I just combine these two columns. Okay, I just combine. I'll just show you how to combine this. For example, you can click on the add column ribbon, custom column. How many of remember custom column? We created the custom column in the previous sessions. Go here. So you can give the proper name. Okay, for example, here state and city. I want to combine it and put it in a single thing, because these two columns forms a composite key. So now what I do is I simply click on state, and I know ampersand is the ampersand notation is used to combine more than one column, concatenate or combine more than one column. I just click on city. That's all. When I click on OK, look here. So this is how I created this column. Ideally, I should have renamed it with proper name, state city, but here I use just custom only. You can give proper name, something like that. This is how I created a new column in this table, bridge table. State is separate column, city is separate column. I combine these two things because these two columns, according to me, is a composite key. I want to link all the three tables with the combination of state and city. Okay, now the question is, if I double click on this link, for example, if I is there any way I can create it? Yes, using this drag and drop also you can create the relationship in the manage relationship dialog box. But there you can create the relationship between between each table with only one column. You cannot combine more than one column. Look here. See here, in this table, look here, this is my state table. Which one is my state? Look here, this is my state table. So you are looking at the state table, the same table here, right? And the next one is this sales one table. It automatically displays here. But still you have an option. You can select whichever table you wanted just by clicking on this drop down. It goes there. When I select this drop down, I can see different tables, right? But I need the state tables. Look at I need the state tables, the city, a city to be linked with the city. But in this case, we have combined city and state with the name of custom column, right? And here state city, or else you can link it directly like this. Here also we create see in this bridge table also we have state city combination, we have it in sales one also, we have state city column combination is there, right? So now I just click on OK, and this is another way of creating relationship between the tables. Even though if you drag and drop it, you just, it is always a better practice or best practice, you click on this link and open the dialog box. It will open the dialog box automatically when you click on it, and you need to check it correctly. The correct columns are mapped. So the common columns between these two tables are the state and city data are custom. Okay, so earlier we were having city, right? We just linked city with city. If you want to use the combination of these two columns, you cannot select more than one column here. State city, if you want to select, it is not possible. Hence what we did, we create a custom column wherein we combine the values of these two columns. The same thing we did it here also. And then hey, in this state table, the custom column and custom column, you can link this using these two common columns. You create the relationship between state and city data, and then click on OK. Now we are done with this. So it will take some time. Okay, now let us go back to the report canvas. Can we just split up correctly? Yes. With this relationship also we are able to get this proper or correct or accurate split up. Okay, the sales split up and population split up state by city is correctly done. This is another way of doing it. So you can, if you have more than one column in your table, okay, and if that more than one columns forms a composite key, how will you create a relationship between other tables? What you do is you can concatenate those two columns. If you have more than two columns, three columns, right? Three columns you concatenate, put it up, give some meaningful name. Okay, and then what do you create the relationship here also, right? Create this. So this is the way you can create the composite key, okay, using this approach. By concatenating more than one column, you can create the relationship amongst the tables. But with the bridge table only you can filter it. These two tables cannot filter it. Okay, for example, if I here I just go ahead. Here the cross filter direction is both. I'm going to select single. See, it shows the filter selection is not valid for it. In this case it is fine. It is showing the correct values only. Fine. I thought of explaining another concept. As of now this is enough. Okay. So there are three approaches. The best approach is create the link table or bridge table and create the one-to-one or one-to-many relationship between the tables, right? See, this table is related with this table is related, but there is no relationship exists between these two tables. Remember this. The second approach is, so in this case we have a composite key. The city and state forms a composite key, but each state and each city, there is only one value for population, there is only one value for sales. Total sales and total population value was given, right? So hence what we are doing is these two columns forms a composite key, and we need to understand the domain also, okay, the data also, based on which only you can create the perfect or the appropriate relationship. Okay, and here city data, okay, and everything is fine, right? This is second approach. And third approach is you can link these two tables directly using cross filter, but that is not doing the filtering correctly. That is not the right way of doing it. But in some case, let's say you are using only one city, you are not using state or something, right? In that kind of situation, when you do aggregation, it will do the splitting at a high level, because you are using sum of population, sum of sales. But if you are using more than one column like city, state, and region, right? These are all the dimensional values, city, state, or dimensions, right? Multiple dimensions. Sales breakdown by city. City is a dimension. You want to see the sales breakdown by city dimension. If you want to see the sales breakdown by state dimension, you need to have the state column. So these are the dimension. Okay, usually we will have a separate table for the state, city, and all. Okay, so right. So region, we will have separate dimension. But if you end up something like this, fact table to fact table, if you want to create a relationship, right? If you want to do a filtering, then obviously you need to have a link table or bridge table. Only then it does the filtering and accurately, even at the granular level. Ashish, hope you are able to follow this, right? So the first two approaches are the best one. Third approach is not helpful, because one advantage is you don't have to have the link table. You can directly do the filtering. But if you do the filtering directly, right, if you have only one dimension between the table, then it is fun. But in real time, oddly, you will have only one dimension. The fact table will have more than one dimension case. And if you have another fact table, that fact table also will have more than one dimension key. So hence, this option is not much helpful. It is not at all working. Okay. So if anybody is asking in interview, how did you implement the many-to-many relationship, we need to have bridge table. So why we need to have a bridge table? Because the fact tables, both the fact tables, in our case we have two fact tables. We cannot do the filtering with one fact table to another fact table. The reason is it has duplicate values in the keys. Hence we need to have a intermediary table, or we have a link table or bridge table. With that only we can do the filtering. Otherwise we cannot do filtering. So this is the best approach. But without many-to-many relationship is a weak relationship. To address that, this is how we need to implement it. Okay, fine. So this is very important. Okay, you cannot find certain things even in YouTube and all. Okay, so this is very important. You just give it a try. So data model part 1, bridge latest. Okay, bridge table. Okay, that's what given. So I will upload this table also. You just this file, report file, you just take a look at it.